In this video, we will learn about equivalence relations and how an equivalence relation gives a partition on a set. We will see that. So, previously in a video on relations, we have seen what is an equivalence relation and how it is constructed, with what conditions. In this video, we will start with partitions and then we will go to the equivalence classes, and from that we will see how the equivalence classes are actually giving the partition on any set on which we are defining the equivalence relation. So let us first recall the definition of equivalence relation. Usually in the previous video we have denoted a relation by R, but in this video we start denoting equivalence relation by this symbol. It is called the tilde. So an equivalence relation tilde on some set A is defined as it is some relation that satisfies the first property that A tilde A will hold for all A belongs to capital A. This means the relation is reflexive. Number 2, it says that if A tilde B and B tilde C, if A tilde B, then it will imply that B tilde where AB are the inverse of A. This relation is called the symmetric one. And the third one is called the transitive relation, that is defined as A tilde B and B tilde C will imply A tilde C, where A, B, C are the inverse of A. And this one is called the transitive relation. So if these three conditions hold together, then we say that tilde is an equivalence relation on the set A. So we have given some examples for this equivalence relation. Say we are taking the set Z and we are defining delta as A delta B, if and only A minus B is a multiple of n for some natural number n. We can see that this will be an equivalence relation on the set Z. Number 2, say we are taking the set T, script T, as the set of all triangles on the two-dimensional plane. That means all the triangles we can draw in this board can be considered as the set T, and the relation here, say we are taking two triangles delta 1 and delta 2, this relation will be defined as is similar to. So in this way we can define this relation tilde within the triangles on the two-dimensional plane, and we can see that this relation will be an equivalence one. Similarly, with the same set, we can define, the whole thing is same, we can define again A tilde B, we can only if tilde is congruent to delta 2. This is also an equivalence relation on the same set of triangles. Number 4, suppose we are taking strip L as a set of all lines means straight lines on the two-dimensional plane. And this is, and we define the relation with two lines L1 and L2 by the parallelity property, that L1 is parallel to L2. We can see that all these relations will become examples of equivalence relation. Okay. So you can verify all these four examples. For now, let us proceed to the definition of partition. How we define a partition on a set. The literal meaning for partitions is that we are dividing something into parts so that the parts will not have any common intersection. Means no part will intersect each other. And another thing is that if you take all the parts, it will give back the original object to you. So suppose we are taking a set like this and we are making part of it like this. See how we are making the parts. We are making the parts so that no two of the parts will intersect each other, and also the union of all the parts is becoming the original set. So the set is A and the parts are these. So if we denote the parts like say E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6 and E7, then we can say that EI intersection EJ is 5, where I is not equals to J, and obviously I and J will run from 1 to 7, the indices here. And another thing is that union of I equals to 1 to 7 EI, if you take the union of all the members, it will give back A. So this is the basic property of a partition. Then we say that the collection that is denoted by script P, that is EI, where for this collection we can denote it like this, and here another property will be EI is a subset of A. So if we define the collection of all the elements, all the members or all the parts of A like this, then this collection gives us a partition on the set A. So next let us see some partitions on some specified sets. We take some examples. First of all, we take the set Z and we take the partition P as this. See, if we take the singleton set 0, the set Z minus means the set of all negative integers and Z plus means the set of all positive integers, then see, this will provide a partition on the set of integers. See, if this is the real line, then here is 0 and then 1, 2 and so on. Here it is minus 1 and minus 2 and so on. Then all the numbers in the negative part and all the numbers in the positive part and 0. This will give a partition for the set of integers here. We can clearly see that the intersection of any two, say Z minus intersection 0 is 5, and this is the same with Z plus intersection 0, and this is the same with Z plus intersection Z minus. All these collections are fine, and also if you take the union Z minus union 0 union Z plus, this will give you Z. So So this is an example for partitions, and it is a partition on Z. In a similar manner, we can define partitions on various sets. So now we will see that whenever we are defining a partition, there will be an equivalence relation on the set. We can form it using the partition. And another thing is that whenever we are defining an equivalence relation on a set, we can form a partition there. So next we see what is an equivalence class. Next we see equivalence class. So suppose we are defining an equivalence relation tilde on the set capital A, and suppose we are taking some element small a from capital A, and we take the set x belongs to A such that x is related to A, taking the collection of all the elements of A which are related to the element small a, and we name this collection as third bracket A, or you can say bar A, and this is named as the class of A. So for each element we can construct this class. This class is called the equivalence class, since the relation here tilde is an equivalence relation. So a few things to know here about equivalence classes. Number one, that any two equivalence classes either disjoint or equivalent. A very important observation that any two equivalence classes for an equivalence relation will be either disjoint or equivalent. Number two, if you take the union of all the equivalence classes where the element is taken from A, you will get back A. Also, you observe that all the equivalence classes may not be distinct, because it can happen that for some A or for some B belongs to capital A, the class of A and class of B becomes equal. Okay, so we will see it. And number three, it is obvious that A belongs to class A, because the relation being reflexive, this is the condition for reflexive relation, that A will be related to A. So that's why every element A from the set A will give this condition that it will belong to its own class. So here the important thing is to prove this one, that any two equivalence classes are either disjoint or equal. So let us see how it is become. Suppose we are taking two elements A and B from the set A. So any two things can happen, that either A is A tilde B or A not tilde B. Means they may be related to each other or they may not be related to each other. So what happens if A tilde B? So then we can say by the definition here that A belongs to class B, and since the relation tilde is an equivalence one, so we can say this A tilde B will also imply that B tilde A, and this B tilde A will imply by the definition of class that B belongs to class A. Okay. so now we are taking any element x from the class A. So see what happens. If x belongs to class A, we can say x is related to A, and since A belongs to class B here, then we can say A is related to B. So from here we can say that x is related to B by the transitivity. So since x belongs to class B, from this definition of class, we can say that x belongs to class B. So we have taken x from class A, and we can see that x is in class B. So this will imply that class A is a subset of class B. And also from this one, if you take any element from class B, that will imply class X is related to B. And also, okay, so not from here, it is from here, or you can say from here. B belongs to A, that will say B is related to A. So by the transitivity we get x tilde A, and this implies that x belongs to class A. So x was in the class B and now it is in class A. So this is implying that B is a subset of the class A. So these two conditions together will imply that class A is equal to class B. That means whenever two elements are related to each other, their classes are same. Okay. So it is proved that the class can be equal when the elements are related. So we can easily imagine that with this condition we can prove the disjoint property of the classes. So let us see. So suppose we take this one. A is not related to B. And again we assume that this intersection is non-empty. So what we get? Since it is non-empty, there should be an element in the intersection. So since X belongs to A class, intersection B class, we can say it will be in the intersection. That means X belongs to A and X belongs to B. And from that, by the definition of class, we can say X tilde A and X tilde B. Now by the symmetry of the relation tilde, we can say A tilde X and X tilde B. From this, we say by the transitivity that A tilde B. But see, we have assumed that A not tilde B, and here we see that it is becoming A tilde B. So clearly it is a contradiction to our assumption that A not tilde B. So by this we can say it is a contradiction. It is a symbol for contradiction. Okay. So then we can say that if two elements are not related to each other, then their intersection will be phi. That means it is the classes A and B are disjoint. So this is the way we can see that equivalence classes will be either equal or disjoint. Now we'll prove this number 2 that says that if you take the union of all the equivalence classes, it will give back the set A. So let's see how it is coming. Okay. So now we will prove the number 2 that says if you take the union of all the elements, all the equivalence classes, you will get back the set A. So let us take some element A from the set capital A. And since the third condition says that an element will belong to its own class, so we can say A belongs to class A. Now, see, suppose this is the set A, and these are all the equivalence classes. So if we say that sum of the class is A, we can say this class A will be a subset of the union of these all the classes. So clearly from here A was taken from this set, that is capital A, and now we can see that A is belonging to the union of all the classes. So from here we can say that A is a subset of the. And for the reverse inclusion, we take some element, say X, from the union of all the classes. Then it must belong to some class A or sum A. And since A class is a subset of A, we can say it is in the set A. So it is implying that union of class A is also a subset of the set A. So from here, combining these two results, we can say that A is same with the union of all the classes. Also you can think of it that whatever we are doing with the set A. So anyhow, the elements of the classes must belong to the set A, and also each of the equivalence classes are subsets of A. So if you take the union of all the subsets of A, then anyhow you will get back the set A. So you can say that the union of all the classes will give you the set A back. So these are the properties we will have, and from this you can see if you take any two unrelated elements A and B, then their equivalence classes will be disjoint, and otherwise you will see. So that is one property for the partitions, that is the members of the partition will be disjoint. And the second condition comes from this one, number 2, that if you take the union of all the classes, it will give you the set A. So that means you can think that whenever we are taking the collection of all the classes that is given by the equivalence relation delta, it will form a partition. It will form a partition on the set A. So that's how an equivalence relation produces a partition on its set. So let us see some examples. Okay, so previously we have seen some examples of equivalence relation. So now we will take one of them and see how it is giving equivalence classes and making a partition on its set. So let us take the set as Z. We take the set as Z and we take the equivalence relation tilde on it, that is defined by A tilde B. We can only A minus B is a multiple of N. N is some natural number. Usually this relation is also known as the congruence modulo N relation, and with this relation another topic starts, that is called the modular arithmetic. So first let us see whether this relation is an equivalence relation or not. So number one, we see that a minus a is 0, and we can write 0 as 0 into n. That gives that a minus a is a multiple of n. So we can say from here a tilde a, and it will hold for each a belongs to z. So we can see that this relation is reflexive. Number two is that we assume that a tilde b. So what we can say then? A minus b is a multiple of n or some integer k. So from here we see that b minus a will also be a multiple of n. Here the constant will be minus k. So we can say that b minus a is also a multiple of n, and from here we can say b tilde a. So this is giving the symmetric relation. Number three, here we assume that a tilde b and b tilde c for some ABC integers from the set z, and this is implying that a minus b is a multiple of n, and also b minus c is a multiple of n. So if you add these two relations, then we can see that a minus c will also be a multiple of n, and the constant is being k1 plus k2. So you can see the value a minus c is also a multiple of n. So we can say that a tilde c, and this is giving the transitive property for tilde. So combining 1, 2, 3, we can say that this tilde is an equivalence relation on the set of integers. So that means it will give rise for a partition on the set Z. Okay, so let us look at this relation a minus b equals to nk more closely. See, from here we can write a is equals to nk plus b. So can you find any resemblance with any other previous topic with this equation? See, it is coming in the form of division algorithm. That says if you are dividing a by some integer or positive integer n, we will get some quotient k, and here it should be nk, and some remainder b if the division is not complete. So then this equality comes. So you can say that here the meaning is this: if you are dividing a with n, then you will get the remainder b. So by division algorithm, what do we know about the remainder? There is a restriction for this, and the restriction is 0 less or equals to b less than n. So since b is an integer, what are the possible values for b? B can be 0, 1, 2 up to n minus 1, because there are n possible remainders when we are dividing by n. So these are the values for b. So here a tilde b is giving this one, and from here we can see that another meaning of a tilde b is that whenever we are dividing a by n, b will be the remainder in that case. So what can you say? What are the elements here which are related to each other? If you take any integer, it will be related to the remainder when the integer is divided by n. For example, if you take class A. So suppose we are taking the class of 0. What can be the classes? What can be the elements of these classes? We can say by the definition of class that it is the collection for integers x which are related to 0. So if x is related to 0, it means it is the collection of all the integers which leaves remainder 0 when multiplied by n, when divided by n. So here we can write it is nk plus 0 and that gives nk. So for 0 class, the elements are the multiples of n, because whenever we are taking multiple of n, then only subtracting 0 we will get a multiple of n. Or we can say if you divide a multiple of n by n, it will leave no remainder or remainder 0. So we can say class 0 is a set of all multiples of n. So what is one class? Similarly, it is a collection of all the integers which leaves remainder 1 when divided by n. So here we can write it is the collection of all integers which are of the form nk plus 1, because whenever an integer is in the form nk plus 1, it will leave remainder 1 when it is divided by n. So set of all integers that leaves remainder 1 when divided by n. So in this way we can find any class. Say we are taking some class K, we have taken K previously. So let us find the class L. This is the collection of all the integers that leaves the remainder L. So the integers will be in this form nk plus L. Obviously L will be lesser than n. So these are the collections. Now what should be the class of n? There is an interesting thing. If you take, says B has no possibility for the value n, but still suppose we are taking the class n, what it will be? See, it is saying that the remainder in this case will be n, and if the remainder is n, we can do another step for the division, and we will see that it will be nk plus n, and in this step if you take n common, we will get n into k plus 1. That is saying that it is again coming in the multiple of n form. So all the elements of class n will be the same with the elements of the class 0. So we can say class n and class 0 are equal. Also you can see that n is related to 0 in this case. So previously by the properties of class equivalence classes we have seen if two elements are related to each other, then their classes will be the same class. So from here we can say there is only distinct n minus 1 classes, and these are the possibilities of the classes, that is 0 class, 1 class, 2 class up to n minus 1 class. Because whenever it is getting the remainder as n, it will again be in the class of 0. So let us write the partition or the collection of all the classes here. The classes are like this: 0 class, 1 class, 2 class, 3 class, up to n minus 1 class. This is the collection of the equivalence classes, and this will provide a partition on the set of integers when this modulo relation is defined on the set Z. Okay, so this is how Z looks when we impose an equivalence relation on the set. The interesting thing is that this set is also denoted by Zn, and there is a beautiful algebraic structure on this, and the operation we define for the algebraic structure on Zn is called the addition modulo n that we have done in the chapter binary operations. So suppose we are taking this set Zn that consists of n elements that are the equivalence classes of modulo n relation, then we will see that we can define addition like this. Since it is a binary operation, we can define it like this: Zn cross Zn to Zn means it will take two elements, class A and class B, and it will map it to the element class A plus class B, and you can verify that this will be the result for class A plus class B. It is A plus B class. So in this way, if you draw sometimes the addition is denoted by this class suffix n. This stands for the addition modulo operation. Addition modulo n. And if you construct the operation table for this operation, you will see that it will look like this. Zero plus plus zero plus is zero plus, zero plus plus one plus is one plus, two plus, three plus. Here it will be in minus one plus. So same order is maintained here. So what we have learned, we can say that zero class is the identity element for this operation. Here it is 1 plus, 2 plus, 3 plus, 4 plus, and so on up to see here n minus 1 plus 1, that will give you n class, and that means it is 0 class. Similarly here it is 2 plus, then 3 plus, then 4 plus, then 5 plus, and here it is 2 plus n minus 1, that means n plus 1, and that means it is again 1 plus, because instead of n we can write 0. Here it is 3 plus, 4 plus, 5 plus, 6 plus, and in the last is n minus 1 plus 2, that becomes 2 plus. N minus 1 plus 3 becomes n plus 2, and it is same as 2. So in this way, here you will see in the last row it will be n minus 1 plus. Here it is n minus 1 plus 1 means 0 plus. N minus 1 plus 2 it becomes 1 plus. And similarly here it is 2 plus, and in the last n minus 1 plus n minus 1, that means 2 into n minus 2, that means 2n means it is 0, so we write it here. So for n, these n's are 0, it means it is minus 2 plus, and whenever there is a minus 2, you can add n with it, so it is n minus 2 plus. So this is how the operation table looks, and this gives a beautiful binary operation on the set of Zn. And you see, if you draw the diagonal here, the elements are same in the diagonal position. So you can conclude that this operation class n is also commutative. See, under the bar or under the addition modulo operation, what it is going inside, it is usual addition. So we can say it is also associative. And from here also, you see in which positions we are getting the identity element. So we can say that the inverses for each element we can calculate from here. Like the inverse of 0 class is 0 class itself. Inverse of 1 class is n minus 1 class itself. And in similar manner we can calculate all the inverse elements for each of the classes. So these are all the details with these equivalence classes and these interesting results we get. In the next video we will discuss something about the rational numbers. We can express the set of rational numbers also as an equivalence class or the collection of all the equivalence classes for some equivalence relation on the set, on a particular set that we will mention in the video. So that's it for now.